shifting in a slightly different direction.
I think it's safe to say that change is...
The carved crest had already been lifted from its protective case. Palace workers were preparing to secure it above the private Kensington Palace entrance when Prince William stepped forward and issued an order no one expected. The installation was to stop immediately. Queen Camilla's personal emblem would not be placed above Catherine's knot that morning. And just like that, everything froze. Not because he shouted, he didn't. That's what made it worse. William didn't need volume, he had authority. Quiet, controlled, final, the kind of command that doesn't ask for permission, it ends discussions. But here's what no one outside those palace walls understood in that moment. This wasn't about decoration. This was about positioning Catherine beneath Camilla, inside her own home. Let that sink in. Kensington Palace, not just a residence, but the symbolic center of William and Catherine's future reign, was about to display a message. A permanent, visual message. Camilla above, Catherine below. And once that image exists, it repeats, it normalizes, it becomes tradition. So why now? Why risk something so blatant? Because something had already happened. Something small, but explosive. Catherine didn't scream when she heard. She didn't argue. She simply lowered the letter in her hand and went silent. And that silence? It wasn't weakness, it was calculation. Because she understood exactly what this meant, and more importantly, what it would trigger. Gratitude toward William came first. He had acted instantly, no hesitation. But right behind it? Dread, because this wasn't just a correction, this was a confrontation with Camilla's pride. And when pride is involved in royal politics, it never stays quiet. Then came the detail that changes everything. The authorization. Not from the central royal household, not from shared protocol, from Camilla's private office. That's when this stopped being ceremonial and started looking personal. William saw it too. He didn't just stop the installation, he picked up the velvet case himself, closed it. That sharp metallic snap, that was the sound of a decision being sealed. Final, unapologetic, but the real shock wasn't the crest being lowered, it was the realization that someone had already tried to raise it above Catherine without even asking her. And here's where the pattern starts to reveal itself. Because this wasn't the original plan. No, the original design placed both crests equally, balanced, respectful, safe, but somewhere, days before installation, something changed. Catherine's emblem was lowered, Camilla's was elevated, centered, dominant, and added into the notes one phrase that exposed everything: principal household emblem. Not symbolic, not decorative, dominant. So ask yourself who benefits from that change, and why risk doing it quietly? Because weeks earlier, there had been a dinner, a controlled, diplomatic evening, no headlines, no drama. But inside that room, something shifted. Catherine moved effortlessly. She welcomed guests, held attention, guided the energy, and the room responded. Naturally, instinctively, not to Camilla, but to her. And then it happened. A guest stepped forward and handed Catherine the gift first. A small mistake? Maybe, but in royal language, that's not a mistake, that's a signal. A perception. A shift in who feels like the center of power. William corrected it politely. Protocol restored. But it was too late. The room had already chosen its focus. Camilla saw everything. Every glance, every compliment, every moment she wasn't the center. And when Charles smiled not at her, but at Catherine, something inside that silence cracked. Because this is the part no one says out loud. Camilla didn't just see a moment of attention. She saw a future where she was being quietly replaced, before she was even gone. So what do you do when you feel your position slipping? You don't announce it. You don't argue publicly. You adjust the symbols. You change the visuals. You control the message before anyone questions it. And that crest? That was the message. But William saw through it. Instantly. Completely. And instead of letting it become tradition, he stopped it before it could even begin. The crest may have been lowered, but the intention behind it? Still standing. And now the question wasn't whether this was deliberate. The question was, how far was Camilla willing to go to remind everyone exactly where she believed she stood? By the time William stood facing Camilla, this was no longer about a crest. It was about control that had already been challenged once and was now being challenged again. This time without witnesses, without protocol, and without the safety net of polite royal language. Because behind closed doors, titles don't soften tension, they expose it. Camilla didn't walk in confused. She walked in prepared. She expected resistance, maybe even disagreement, but what she found instead was something far more dangerous: evidence laid out in front of her. Side by side, impossible to deny. The original plan, the altered version. One balanced, one deliberate, one respectful, One, strategic. William didn't raise his voice. Again, that silence followed him like a weapon. He didn't need emotion because the facts were already doing the damage. He pointed, slowly, precisely, to the moment everything changed: the lowered emblem, the shifted placement, the words principal household emblem. And then he asked the question that cut deeper than any accusation. Why? Not how. Not who approved it. Why? Because that question forces motive, and motive exposes truth. Camilla didn't retreat. She couldn't. Not now. Not after years of fighting to be seen, to be accepted, to be recognized as more than the woman who waited in the shadows. She answered as a queen, not as someone being questioned. Rank mattered. Order mattered. The monarchy had a structure, and she stood at the top of it. That was her argument. Clean, formal, untouchable, on the surface. But William wasn't arguing structure. He was exposing intent, and when he read those words aloud, principal household emblem, something shifted in the room. Because now it wasn't about hierarchy anymore. It was about territory. Kensington Palace wasn't hers. It never was. And placing her symbol above Catherine's there, that wasn't protocol. That was placement with purpose. That's when the truth slipped out. Not loudly, not dramatically. Quietly, Camilla admitted she would not allow another moment where guests believed Catherine outranked her, that she would not sit through another evening watching attention drift, loyalty shift, and presence fade. In that moment, everything aligned. The dinner, the change, the crest. This wasn't about respect, it was about fear. Fear of being replaced before her time. Fear of becoming ceremonial while someone else became central. And fear inside royal walls doesn't stay emotional, it becomes strategic. William didn't attack her for it. That's what made it worse. He understood it, but he refused to accept the consequence of it. Because what Camilla saw as protecting her position, he saw as diminishing Catherine's future. And once that line is crossed, once a future queen is symbolically lowered, it doesn't stop at one crest. It spreads. Quietly, permanently, so he did something unexpected. He didn't demand apology. He didn't escalate. He escalated the decision. He pushed it upward. To Charles. Now think about that for a second. This wasn't just a family disagreement anymore. This was a forced choice. Wife or son? Present crown or future crown? Stability or silent resentment? And when that file reached Charles, everything slowed down. Because inside it wasn't just drawings, it was proof. Two versions of reality. One that maintained balance, and one that introduced hierarchy where it didn't belong. And Charles understood something immediately: this decision wouldn't stay contained. Whatever he chose would ripple. Through the palace. Through perception. Through history. Camilla spoke first. Of course she did. This wasn't just about a crest for her anymore. This was about legitimacy. About not being quietly moved aside while the world shifted its attention to the next generation. She didn't beg, she warned, because she knew what losing this meant, not publicly, but internally. Staff behavior changes, tone shifts, subtle respect disappears. But then came the detail she couldn't defend. The process had been bypassed. No central approval, no shared authorization, no formal review. Just her office, making a move that looked less like protocol and more like positioning. And that's where everything collapsed. Because Charles could defend rank, he could defend tradition. But he couldn't defend a move that ignored the very system designed to protect the monarchy from internal power plays. That was the line. Quiet, unspoken, final. He didn't argue. He didn't lecture. He folded the instruction. One motion. Slow, controlled, decisive. That was it. The installation was over. But what no one said out loud in that moment was far more unsettling than the decision itself. Because stopping the crest didn't erase the intention behind it. It didn't remove the fear that caused it. And it didn't resolve the question that now hung over the entire family like a shadow that refused to move. If a symbol this small could trigger a battle this intense, what happens when the stakes are no longer symbolic?